Okay, my friends, I just put this up an hour ago. Is the truth about truth a lie? Are we being told truth, or is it being told to us knowingly that it's not true? Because I can show you right now, and I am going to, and I am expecting Vice President Pence to be true to his words, as you will see his words. They spoken on the floor of the Senate, I believe it was. And he's asking for truth in education, and so am I. And I have the DNA proof. I have all of the evidence to support all my words of truth. And these support there were giants on the earth in those days. And then I also have this. Okay, this is for Vice President Pence. I just saw a video saying that Vice President Pence would like to have honesty in education. That is my goal. This was a CAT scan. This was 5 years ago, July of 2015. And this is from the Mudfossil research I did then. And this is a CAT scan. Now, you see this right here, and you see that right there? You never notice that. This is the same finger. And here it is here. You see it? You wouldn't see that except for the CAT scan. I knew what it was. It's a fingertip of a giant human being, or a giant of some sort. And we had it DNA certified, and it is a giant human being. And we took the blood from out inside, I believe that's the artery. The black blood is usually the vein, and that's the artery side. That's what I'm taking from this. It doesn't matter. Blood is blood. And they did find it, the blood in it. And this is where the apical tuft sits. And I have the whole hand that goes with this, knuckles, and I have all kinds of parts that go along with this. Now, I'm hoping to have this at least examined. It's been refused by Yale and Harvard, and every other institution has refused to examine it. So I'm hoping, here, I have the, well, you saw the CAT scan. All right, and I have, you can see where the blood vessels are and all this business. And this is, I have a bunch of other parts, and that's an apical tuft. What you need to do is get some anatomists. And this is the palm. That's the full-size palm. That palm is 36 inches wide, DNA tested. All right, not a cheap DNA test either. It was PCR test. Now, I'm going to show you what Vice President Pence had on the internet, and he spoke right from the Senate floor, I believe. Let's take a look at that. Now, before we go there, let's just take a look at the DNA tests here. All right, and this was it. There was 3 samples done. There was a huge, huge fingertip. Then there was the fingertip I showed you. I call it the mud tip. And then there was a lung, and this is the lung. On the lung, we took the sample out of the red blood area of the lung. And this was all tested by DNA, CAT scan. The lung was CAT scan too. Well, everything was CAT scan. It could be CAT scan. One of the gigantic things, there's no way we can get it out of there. Although it actually has fingerprints. Anyway, Vice President Pence, we need your help, my friend. And I have everything to support the statements that I am making. And this was an extensive test. It took a couple of months. It's PCR, and it was done with, negative controls. And, I had interaction with the lab, and they did a fabulous job. And it is what it is, Homo sapien mitochondrial. Now, mitochondrial means the mother's side. The father's side is a whole different issue. And I don't care about that. I just wanted to see, was this valid? Could I present this to academia and have them at least examine it? And they still, to this very day, refuse. All right, so I think you're in a position that you can help us, sir. All right, God bless you. Okay, Vice President Pence, you have seen my evidence, and I'd like your response and see if we can go somewhere from here. All right, because this is what I heard from you. This is the words from your lips, my friend.
The linear depiction of evolution, just above the chalkboard. There's the little monkey crawling on the grass. There's the Neanderthal with his knuckles dragging, and then there's Mel Gibson standing in all of his glory. It is what we have been taught that man proceeded and evolved along linear lines. But now comes a new find by paleontologists in the newspapers all across America. A new study in Nature magazine. 6 to 7 million year old skull has been unearthed, the Torme skull, and it suggests that human evolution was actually, according to a new theory, human evolution that was taking place, and I'm quoting now, all across Africa and on the earth. And the earth was once truly, and I quote, a planet of the apes on which nature was experimenting with many human-like creatures. Paleontologists are excited about this, Mr. Speaker, but no one's pointing out that the textbooks, I guess, will need to be changed, because the old theory of evolution, taught for 77 years in the classrooms of America as fact, is suddenly replaced by a new theory, or I hasten to add, I'm sure we'll be told, a new fact. Well, the truth is, it always was a theory, Mr. Speaker. And now that we've recognized evolution as a theory, I would simply and humbly ask, can we teach it as such? And can we also consider teaching other theories of the origin of species, like the theory that was believed in by every signer of the Declaration of Independence? Every signer of the Declaration of Independence believed that men and women were created and were endowed by that same Creator with certain unalienable rights. The Bible tells us that God created man in his own image, male and female, he created them. And I believe that, Mr. Speaker. I believe that God created the known universe, the earth, and everything in it, including man. And I also believe that someday scientists will come to see that only the theory of intelligent design provides even a remotely rational explanation for the known universe. But until that day comes, and I have no fear of science, I believe that the more we study the science, the more the truths of faith will become apparent. I just would humbly ask, as new theories of evolution find their ways into the newspapers and into the textbooks, let us demand that educators around America teach evolution not as fact, but as theory.
Yes, Vice President Pence, I agree 100%. And I also agree, as I stated in my last video, which took aim at the academic institutions, that they have a fiduciary obligation to their students to examine the things that I have just shown. And I would like to discuss this with you, sir. I am certainly willing to present my evidence to you and have you pass it along. I don't want to get personally that deeply involved. I just want it to be, as you said, allowed to be understood for what it is. Thank you. Okay, I think I said the Senate, House of the Florida Senate. Obviously, he was a representative, a congressman, so it was the House. But I don't care where he speaks from. I want him to speak about this, and I want it to be seen. I want it to be studied. I want it to be spoken about. To not speak about it, I don't think that's right. I mean, I don't think they have the right to remain silent. If you're charging somebody for education and then you refuse to even investigate something that's presented with DNA and CAT scans and specimens and anatomists and chemistry, I don't think that's right. I just don't think it's right. And I think we have to rely on somebody with the kind of power of the president or the vice president, because up to there, nobody seems to care a bit, not a slightest bit. So I'm counting on you, my good friends in our government. I'm not a big government guy. I don't go in with any of that stuff. I stay away from it because I find I have very little control there. But I heard your words, and I'm holding you to them, my friend, the best I can. All right? Speak up. You have the power. Help us.